tonight I've finally sold out. I'm going to be playing the most popular game on Twitch, circa 2001. Azurik, Rise of Perathia. I'm really hungry for those Twitch dollars, so plan to get 1,000 subscribers from this. And then after Azurik, Rise of Perathia, we are going to be playing Cadence of Hyrule, which I think actually does have like a significant Twitch following right now, but whatever. I didn't think this through because I actually need to set up the game for the capture. All right, so that was like 30 minutes. But it's fine. It was time for everybody to trickle in. God, where do I even start with this game? None of that is getting uploaded to YouTube, by the way. Oh, but if anyone does have that issue that I had, just for posterity, OBS has a setting underneath the Elgato capture properties, like the actual device properties at the very bottom.
The elemental forces are harnessed. Earth. Air. Fire. Water. Life. Death. Mystical discs from ancient Diluvian technology are keys to the realms that harbor these violent forces. We are the Law Guardians, protectors of the elemental discs, sworn to a life of honor, mastering the elements in the ways of the ancient Diluvians. Generations ago, the Death Disc was hidden, and to this day remains unrecovered. Now, the balance of the elements is lost, and Perathia is doomed to chaos. The prophecy of the elements foretells that two men will battle for control of the discs. One with selfish ambition, and one with a pure heart.
We play as the one with the selfish ambition. Fucking check out this title music, though. Doesn't this music kick ass? Feels like, almost like John Williams-esque. Yeah. It's Jeremy Soule, who's basically the John Williams of Star Wars, or the John Williams of video games, so. Yeah, Jeremy Soule did this whole soundtrack, and honestly, like arguably, this game has some of his best work. It's like wasted on this fucking game. This song's still going. No, completely unrelated, these characters. I played this game a little bit when I bought this Xbox, but as you can see, far from 100%. We are going to finish this game, which, let me talk about my background with this game, and this game in general, like its history. This came out not as a launch title for the Xbox. It was intended to be a launch title for the Xbox, but they had to delay it because it was fucked up. By like not very long. It was only a couple weeks, I think, after the Xbox launch when it finally dropped. So they if the delay is that short, it's probably because, oh god, our game doesn't even work. Quick, cut out the shit that's not finished. Okay, it launches. Good enough. Print discs. So this game was supposed to be a launch title for the Xbox. It was supposed to show off how good the graphics were and how awesome the Xbox was. And it was also supposed to be like, we have Zelda but for grown-ups. This is Ocarina of Time for the cool kids. And it has elements like that, but it's also like part collectathon, like Banjo-Kazooie almost, but like way toned down. It's a 3D action adventure platform, and yes, this is mature Zelda. In this one, Zelda fucks. But Azurik is the most forgettable protagonist in any video game ever. And I loved this game when I was a kid, because it was like, I didn't have a GameCube. The Xbox was my first console after the Game Boy Advance SP. That was my first real console. So I never had a GameCube. So this was like my first experience of like an open world adventure game, and I love the shit out of this game. And I will say there are parts of it that unironically still hold up. There's two parts that still hold up. One, soundtrack. You can hear this shit. The soundtrack's incredible. Two, some of the art design and general environment building is actually pretty good. Like, the gameplay is garbage. Some of the environments look very rushed and ugly, but some of them actually look really nice. And you could tell someone spent time trying to make it look like it was like a living, breathing world. So hopefully we will see some of that. This game does look fairly pretty, but it has one major problem, which is that it's like squished down into a tiny resolution. They had to like really make it granular. There's lots of games on the Xbox that don't look grainy and like blurry, but this game has to be because they tried too hard. And then they couldn't get it to run on the Xbox, so like, fuck, I guess scale it down like 3 times. So you'll see that too. Let's just start the game. There he is.
Welcome to the training arena, young Guardian.
Get used to this guy's voice. I guess that's the third thing that's good about this game. This guy is a great narrator, and he narrates the entire game.
To end your training session, leave the arena and press the action button, X.
I need to figure out who this voice actor is, and see if he's done anything else ever.
For your first challenge, destroy the 5 orange vases on the floor of the arena. Use the A button to jab, and the B button to sweep.
So here's Azurik. He has a really cool jump animation that if you just keep hammering the button, he just hops on one leg forever. And it's very good. This is also the fastest way... This is the fastest way to get around, is to like jump continually. It is a little bit faster than walking, and you can actually... It has weird momentum physics where if you do it on a ledge properly, you like catapult forward. So... You'll be seeing the skipping animation a lot. The really cool thing about Azurik, I think I've actually got... Yeah. You can see I have the sound effects turned like all the way down to 2, and then the music turned all the way up, because I actually want to hear the music. And if we do this...
Welcome to the...
Yeah. Yeah. This is all you hear the entire game. I'm not putting up with that. So maybe we'll turn it down to, like, there. No, I'm putting it back to where it was. I think that's good enough. There are speedrun texts. People did not speedrun this game, like, properly until a few years ago, actually. I was really surprised, because when I first looked into it a while ago, there was no speedruns for this game. Then when I looked into it more recently, there was a lot of speedrunning going on. And now it's actually, I think, mildly competitive, even. So you have two main
learn
methods.
To harness the powers of the elements.
Okay.
Press and hold the left trigger. Tap the A button, Earth. Release the left trigger. This will summon your Earth armor.
So, yeah, here's the main gimmick of the game is the elements. But first, there's two attack buttons in this game. There's A, which is jab. If you don't hit anything, he just does this forever. It's just a jab. If you hit enemies, he starts a combo. And then he can, like, keep the combo going with other different attacks. But it's mostly just, that's just smack the A button to do combos. The other button is B, which is a sweep. If you do 2 sweeps in a row, he does that. Or if you do a sweep in a direction, he just starts out with that. And there's only one sound... Yeah, okay. There's only one sound file for every individual attack, so... Except for jab. Jab has, like, 2. But sweeps only have 1. They're very good sound files, though. So yeah, you have elements. Each element, you can see them on the bottom right, they're mapped to the colors of the Xbox controller buttons. Like, Earth is green down there at the bottom, and that's where the green A button is. X is water, it's blue, etc. Yeah. That's Earth armor. We wearing it.
Now, combine elements to summon your lava power. Press and hold the...
And then you can combine elements by pressing more than once. You can see them highlight as you go to choose them. And deselect them and stuff. You just hold left trigger and then press the buttons to activate what you want. So, we can combine earth and fire, and every elemental combination has a different thing. Earth and fire makes lava, which is a weapon upgrade. So now we have earth armor and lava
Use
spear.
the right thumbstick to look up at the ceiling. There you will find the elemental combination for the smash power.
You can combine fire and water. It makes steam.
Apply the smash power to your axion.
That's also a fun way to teach camera controls, I think. So yeah, you combine earth, air, and fire, and you make smash, which is like a shockwave ability. None of these abilities really do anything special.
Use your smash power to destroy the 5 purple vases at the edges of the arena floor.
Yes, the weapon is called an axiom. It is the weapon of the lore guardians that harnesses the elements. Boop. Barp. 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 Barp.
Use what you have learned to fight these harvesters. They may seem timid, but are dangerous in packs.
These are harvesters.
You can press the right trigger to set the camera behind you. This will aid you when fighting. You can stun an enemy by jabbing with the A button. Follow up with several jabs for maximum effectiveness.
There's the combo. Get used to that set of sounds, the hit, huh.
The circle with the red cross will replenish your health.
You will fucking hear that forever. He just makes so much noise in this game. And it's all the same noises. As you can see, keeping the smash power on is like draining my elemental abilities. You have to refill those over time. Oh god, guys, it's a slave.
Press Y and quickly press B to perform an overhead smash attack. Try to feel which power causes the most damage to an enemy.
I already know which power does the most damage to Sleeths. It's Steam. Because I'm an expert at this game. So that's you can do an overhead smack, which is not very efficient because it knocks enemies down and gives them like a ton of iframes. So if you just smack people, it's like the safest way to kill enemies, but also the slowest because they just sit on the ground for like 3 hours. Here's a really good cutscene though.
Time for your lesson, young Guardian.
Sir, it would be an honor to practice with you.
You talk too much. The good practice is a real fight.
Uh-oh.
Youth is no substitute for experience.
Stop! The integrity of the law, Guardian, must always be upheld. We are the keepers of Perathia's people and its honor. Balthazar, be at peace. Go now and meditate. It will do you well.
This guy's purple.
Yes,
That's how you know he's
master.
cool. Everyone else is blue.
Guardian, you remind me of myself. It took all my concentration to master the ways of the elements. True power comes from self-control.
Soon I'll show you what true power really is. The Death Disc.
We'll talk about the lore later. There's a lot to dig into.
Balthazar, you found Disc of Death.
Who are you? How did you get into my mind?
What is your ultimate desire?
Honor.
A very disciplined answer for a guardian. But in your heart, you know you lie. At the core of your being, there's a stronger pull. What is it?
Power.
The one who possesses all the elemental discs controls all of Perathia. I am the guardian of death. Bring all of the discs to me, and I will give you ultimate power.
Yeah, reminder. This launched alongside Halo.
Discuss the elements. Say them to me again. Shh. Where's that? Balthazar! He's possessed. Balthazar, I will not allow this.
Get out of my way, old man. I am the master now.
Balthazar, stand down now!
Eldwin!
Eldwin!
Young Guardian, the prophecy has been set in motion. Without the elemental discs, Perathia will decay and die. The discs have been shattered and flung to the far uncharted reaches of this land. Hurry. Death Guardian makes Balthazar stronger than ever before. Restore the honor of the Lore Guardians. Restore the discs. Restore Perathia.
Restore Perathia.
Your adventure begins here in the Water Realm. The destruction of the discs has caused you to lose your elemental powers. As you search the elemental realms for the various disc fragments, you will also want to search for ways to restore your elemental powers.
Here we are. So, the lore of this game is that a long time ago, the ancients made the world, and they created the elements like in the world, and in order to control each of the elements to make the world livable, they created a guardian for each element. And that worked out, and like the guardians are like robots basically that control fire, water, earth, air, life, and death. And they created these guardians to control the elements to make the world livable for living beings. And everything was okie dokie until those guardians actually rebelled against the ancients, and they started a war. So then the ancients made the discs, which act as like AI command discs. They're literal discs with commands in them that when they're in that tower over there, they make the guardians obey the rules and keep the world alive. None of that is explained in-game, but it is in the manual, which I have definitely read cover to cover. And I need to take pictures of it. Because somebody cared a lot about the lore in this game, and they cared a lot about the monsters in it. They care a lot about the world building, and that person was not allowed to actually work on the game at all. He was just like they handed him the pamphlet and they were like, all right, you can put all your dumb nerd shit in this pamphlet, but we're not putting it in the game. We need more room for graphics.
Step on these round platforms to save your progress.
This is unfortunately before autosave, so we have these. These are just save points. You stand on them and they save your game.
Collect 100 sapphires to increase the amount of water element you can carry.
So it's kind of like very mild post-apocalyptic fantasy, though honestly, these guys, the blue people, it's not mentioned that the blue people believe they are creations of the ancients and are not actually the ancients. I like to believe that this planet was actually terraformed by these blue people who were the ancients and they forgot about it. That's my headcanon. This is another planet, and you'll see when we get to the life realm, spoilers I guess, the life realm kind of makes things, they get very spacey very quick and very, oh, this is actually science fiction. So we'll hit that bridge when we get to it.
Collect 100 emeralds to increase the amount of earth element you can carry.
My headcanon, my deep game theory for this is that the ancients were just the blue people a long time ago. I have not written any fanfic yet, but that's going to change at the end of the stream. I made a promise at the end of the System Shock 2 stream. Somewhere in here, we are going to
collect 100 diamonds to increase the amount.
We are going to
of
read
you can carry.
Azurik fanfiction, and at the end of all of these streams, we are going to write some Azurik fanfiction, and it's going to be great. These things right here are Diluvian oracles. They just let the old man talk
Launch
to you.
yourself across the ocean by jumping into the water spout.
You know that thing where you played a game in your childhood and it burns an audio file into your brain so that you can hear it perfectly for the rest of your life? This oracle right here is one of those. Launch yourself across the ocean by jumping into the water spout.
Launch yourself across the ocean by jumping into the water spout.
That's just such a fucking absurd goal. Launch yourself across the ocean. So we're in the water realm. Every element has its own realm. where the Guardian lives. The Guardians are kind of evil in that they are rebelling against their masters and destroying the world now that the discs are no longer, like, controlling them. So that's why we need the discs back.
Press the Y button.
Also, this game has mantling, so we're good. So we need to go collect all the discs, which have been scattered. There we go.
Collect 100 rubies to increase the amount.
As Old Man keeps saying, you collect these gems. They're not super important, but they increase your, like, elemental capacity, which we don't have any elements unlocked now, so that doesn't really matter, but they're still important to collect. Enemies drop health and elemental power when you've unlocked elements. This is the Water Realm. Most of it is inaccessible right now, because this is a Metroidvania. So, as you can see here.
This is the central part of the Water Realm. Once you've recovered your water and fire powers, you can combine them to melt the ice block and gain access to other parts of the Water Realm.
So this ice block is in the way, and we can't break it. We need elemental powers. And then we can get access to that whole area out there. Which, the Water Realm is very large. This is, like, all of that, there's no loading screens. All of that area out there you can actually, like, swim to and go to. Which is actually kind of impressive for an Xbox game. So, yeah, and you can also swim underwater indefinitely. There's no, like, air meter.
Use the left thumbstick to navigate through the water.
There's no explanation as to why Azurik can breathe underwater forever, but he just can. Yeah, and there's also stuff underneath the water down there. That's not just a big ocean. Like, that's a whole level out there that I can swim through. And there's a lot of shit to give this game, but again, like, these environments are actually kind of cool. That's why he's blue. He's holding his breath the whole time. Here's our first obsidian we're about to find. These are special collectibles, and my only regret is that you don't get to, like, the first 3 obsidians in this game, you don't get to hear the best voice line in the game because they're all underwater.
If you collect 10 or more obsidians, you can return to the Temple of the Elements for additional abilities.
And Azurik doesn't say things when he's underwater. But when we find our first above water obsidian, we're going to hear the best voice line in the game, where Azurik does a fist bump. And it says, "An obsidian!" I mostly just like it because he gets really excited every single time and he does a fist pump, and it's really cute. He's like a huge nerd. He is the least, like, heroic protagonist I've ever seen in a video game. I know pretty much everything about the first, like, 3 areas of this game. After that, I don't really know anything at all, because I've never actually beaten this game legitimately. And we'll talk more about that later, but there's cheats in this game that let you sequence break. And as soon as I found those as a kid, it was over. Whee! So that's the water spout. It fucking goes. Plonk. Nope. This game is actually pretty chill. There's, like, no anxiety moments anywhere in this game. There is some frustrating platforming, but it's not, like, timed ever. It's not like the enemies are ever really a threat. It's just annoying. Annoying is the only, like, bad emotion this game gives. So we're still in the Water Realm, but we're in, like, an icy part now. The ice effects in this game also always kind of looks pretty good. But the more impressive areas in this game don't come until later, which really surprises me. Because you would think with a game that they intended to show off the Xbox, they would put like their best foot forward and put all their fancy graphics right at the beginning. But like the coolest areas in this game were at the end. Here's another obsidian, by the way. Like I said, all the first ones are underwater. There's a disc fragment. It tantalizes you with one right at the beginning. It's a piece of the... I don't know what that is. Water, I think. Can't get it till you get your elemental powers, though. That cutscene is supposed to teach you what you're supposed to do, but it just kind of points the camera at things and you have no idea what they are, and it doesn't help at all. But it's good to know that there's two things up there. I mean, Ralph Bluton is a very, very applicable emote for this game.
Push forward on the left thumbstick to climb them.
Look for vines. So these are all baby Sleeths, and that's a mama Sleeth. Sleeths spit acid. There is a cheat for this game I should probably look up. There's another obsidian right there we can't get. There's a cheat for this game I should probably look up that's like free cam. I had it memorized at one point. Those guys drop health. That's why I killed them. Azurik's elements went away when the discs exploded. That's the only explanation we get. Oh, yeah, let's talk about the lore. So, the death disc has been missing for a very long time. It was not in the tower with the rest of them, and everyone was afraid because the death element seems pretty important. It's death, and they were afraid that when the disc disappeared, the Death Guardian would start doing some crazy shit. But then nothing happened, and they were like, "Oh, I guess it's fine then."
To activate a switch.
Enemies drop health and elemental power, but elemental power is basically just used to kill enemies, so there's no reason to kill enemies except to get them to leave you alone while you're trying to do something. So you can skip literally every enemy in this game that's not a boss fight. There are boss fights, by the way. But yeah, the death disc disappeared and no one could find it until Balthazar found it behind a pot for some reason. That part is never explained. To the best of my knowledge, it is never explained why the death disc was behind a pot that Balthazar happened to find by throwing an axiom at it, just on accident. It's like the most Deus Ex, oops, look what he found thing in the world, and it's actually like almost funny. But then Balthazar found the death disc.
Now, find the control lever to put out the ring of fire.
And then he got possessed by the Death Guardian. And then he used the power of the Death Guardian to... He tried to steal the elemental discs, but then he got in a fight with Elwyn. There's a side passage over there I didn't know about for a very long time, but we can't do anything there yet. Oh wait, here we go. There you go. I don't know why I love that line so much, but I do. He killed Old Man, who is still talking to us in our brain through a piece of his armor somehow. Also never explained. Well, okay, the manual actually does explain it, but it's conflicting
Press
with
the X button to
the game.
activate the lever. Use the left thumbstick to control the lever.
Because the... Did I get it in first try? Yeah. You have to put out all the fire very quickly, or else if you leave any parts of it up, the rest of it turns on. Ow. The game manual... Also, yeah, I guess that was cool. I need to stop taking parts of this game for granted, because, like, I've played through it so many times, I can't imagine that other people have not seen this part of the game before. I've played through this fucking part, like, 90 times throughout my life. Guaranteed. At least. I can do this opening segment, like, from memory. I could close my eyes and do it. But these things right here, these like little hint stations, the game manual describes them as Diluvian oracles, which are supposedly things left behind by the ancients. They are supposed to, like, give you guidance. But it's clearly Elwyn talking. Like, there's no doubt it's supposed to be the old man that died. And it also has that little thing floating in it is, like, reminiscent of the armor he had on his shoulder. So it's clearly supposed to be him. It's not left over from the ancients. So there is no in-game explanation as to why old man can continue to talk to you. And the manual just, like, makes some bullshit up that's not true.
This part of the water realm is blocked from working by a ring of fire.
A ring of fire. Yeah. But this game is mostly puzzles and then platforming. And the combat is also there.
You can use your water power to extinguish a wall of fire.
So now we have water element. The game gives it to you pretty quick. And then, oh no! You're trapped. But now you have water element. And no frame rate. Boop. An obsidian. Yeah, the water element is probably the most underwhelming, ow, of all the elements. And you also get upgrades as you go. So, like, they look more visually impressive with every level you get. So we have level 1 water right now, which is shit. I just love the fist pump so much. It's so silly. Nope. These guys, these enemies right here are not enemies. If you wet creatures. So if enemies are weak to water, hitting them with this does more damage. That's it. There's no, like, status effects in this game. There's no, like, special benefit that water does over the other things. It literally just does more damage to things that take more damage from water. Which Sleeths are slightly weaker to water.
The blue globes.
But they're extremely weak to steam. So if we get fire, we can combine that with water and we do, like, super bonus damage. Those guys drop the element according to the color of their crystal. Well, that was cool. But yeah, I unironically like the design of, like, the ancient technology, which is what this is, the save point. I think a lot of it looks really cool. It's like... It's almost like a mix of, like, ceramic and alien technology, which I just think is a cool aesthetic. And that river right there, if you jump into it, it actually dumps you out into the next zone that this tunnel goes to, which I like. Yeah, so there's no autosaves, and there's no saving from the menu, so I can't save whenever I want. I have to go find a save point every time I want to save. But yeah, if you jump into that river, it actually pushes you out over this waterfall and dumps you out down there instead of, like, going through the tunnel. I just thought that's a fun touch. Oh, I did not mean to slide off that, but that worked. This game is very slidey. We're going to be experiencing a lot of sliding in this game. Because that's what you really want from your game where platforming is a major element. You want the player to feel like they have no control. That gate over there is the stormy part of the Water Realm. And over there is the icy part of the Water Realm. And that thing in the middle is a giant whirlpool, which we can't go to any of those places yet, because if we actually try and swim that way, you'll notice there's a current that pushes us back, demonstrated by a very, very light trail of bubbles heading in our direction. But there's an invisible wall here that means you can't go that way. So we have to get our firepower and then go through that ice cube over there to get to the rest of the Water Realm. But the Water Realm is one of my favorite areas just because it's like... They had the idea of what if the Water Realm was just one big ocean, and then they just fucking did it. And they kind of just made it work.
Gold teleporters are always active.
There's teleporters, too. I don't think there's anything up here. But yeah, like, all over the place, there's just these ruins of like, the ancients all over the place. And some of them are just weird, like these pillars clearly don't mean anything. There's just pillars here for some reason. But some other places, it feels like more functional. Especially, like, pretty much everywhere in the Fire Realm looks like it's a machine. And, like, you just, like, start wondering what the purpose of some places are. And it's really cool. But the Water Realm is mostly all natural. Until we get to the stormy part of the Water Realm where there's some more industry stuff over there. I mean, I love huge pillars, and I'm not an ancient civilization. If huge pillars were reasonable to have, my house would just have huge pillars all over the place. Because they look cool. But as far as the game seems to imply that the blue people... Here's another thing that really doesn't make sense with the lore.
This wall of fire blocks your way to town.
Yeah. We're about to go to town. And this is the only place with friendly NPCs in it. They're very well fleshed out and they're very interesting. And there's just so much to do in town and it's great. Now, Azurik doesn't own a shirt, and it makes lots of sense in the lore because he has a really nice chest. His body proportions are a little bit off, though. The way his arms just kind of go straight down after, like, going a foot out from his body are just interesting. His body proportions are not quite right. These are bots. These are my favorite enemies in the game, actually. I would love to get a close-up look at them. Because... Actually, you know what? We're going to look up that... We're going to look up that right now. I'm looking up the cheats for free cam. There's some pretty good cheats in this game, by the way. Oh, that's it? Okay. There we go. That's an easy one. So we have free cam, which is, honestly, put this fucking cheat in every game. This is such a cool cheat. And it lets you actually look at things that you normally wouldn't be able to look at in this game because the resolution is so scaled down. But look at these fucking guys. I love them. They're like snail robots that fly around. I love this enemy design so much. Look at this friend. Yeah, they do look like Nautiluses. But these guys are like the maintenance bots. They're just called bots, but they are the maintenance like repair bots that go around and they just like fix things that the ancients left behind. And they also attack people that go into ancient places. I don't know why there's some around this bridge, but the game decided there should be. This is just some fucking wooden ass bridge. The ancients didn't build this. I don't know why there are bots here, but they are. But yeah, those are like some of my favorite enemies. All the NPCs, when you walk up to them, say some variation of like, "You're our only hope, Azurik," something like that. There's a little girl that has like, again, I have some of these sound bites like memorized in my brain, and there's this little girl that goes, "You're our only hope, Azurik," and like all slurred together into one word. And you can go into some of the houses, but not all of them.
All of Perathia is looking to you.
That's all they say. It's just like some variation of, "You are the protagonist, Azurik." And they don't do anything else. Yeah, here we go. Are we gonna get it?
Help us, Azurik.
No. Wrong line. You said the wrong one. Yeah, and you just like walk into people's houses and take their gems. In the, you know, this game was inspired by The Legend of Zelda. It's a time-honored tradition. Though I don't have to smash people's pottery to steal their currency.
For the last lore guardian.
Literally just like every variation of "You are the protagonist" possible. Yeah, so Azurik is the last lore guardian because Eldwin got blown up and Balthazar got possessed and he's gone now.
For the last lore guardian.
Everyone just... Oh, you can go to Balthazar's house, by the way. You remember in that cutscene where Balthazar is like in his house and he has the death disc and he gets possessed in there? You can actually like find his house in town and go into it. And it's like the nicest house in the village. Because they had to like fill it with stuff for a cutscene. I'm actually going to try and find his house now. And I remember when I found that in the game... Oh yeah, that's the lava waterfall is the fire realm. That's the water realm and that's the fire realm. They're right next to each other. There it is. There's the line. There is no steam realm, but they do like... the waterfalls connect in the middle and they produce a lot of steam and like that chasm right there. The steam realm run by cave. No, the gems are not a currency as far as I know. They're just things that lore guardians use to increase their like elemental powers. Though presumably they would be used as a currency because they are rare gems. Here's Balthazar's house, by the way. This is where he was meditating. And the death disc was like sitting here on the bench. I'm gonna steal his obsidian since he's away from home. He does have a barbecue pit in his house. Yeah, there's like some weird cultural influences that like don't mesh together at all for the designs in this stuff. Like, everything about it is like they just take specific things that are important to certain cultures and then just kind of mash them in with a very generic fantasy aesthetic. And, like, there's like a normal-ass bookshelf on the wall and a normal-ass bed with, like, a pelt on it. And then, like a worship dojo mat. It just feels weird. But... now that we're here at this temple again, this tower is an example. This was built by the ancients, and again, the ancient stuff actually looks cool. I like the aesthetic of all the ancient stuff in this game. We don't actually have to go here yet, but I wanted to look around. This is where you turn in your obsidians to get special prizes. Our first one is right here when we get 10 obsidians. Then 20, 30, 40, 50. There's 100 in the game. It goes all the way around. Yeah, and we got some Anor Londo elevators, so basically fucking back off Dark Souls. Azurik did it first. These are where all the discs go. They're all missing, because Balthazar blued them up. And they're just scattered all over the place. So that way's to the Earth Realm. That goes to Water Realm. That goes to Fire Realm. Right there goes to Fire Realm. And the Air Realm is above us, so it doesn't have an entrance. The Air Realm is like my favorite realm in the game. Death Realm is below us. It's literally hell, and that's like the last area of the game. And there's Life Realm, which I think, as I mentioned before, is actually in space. And we'll talk about the Life Realm when we get there. And yes, there is in fact fall damage, and it's the main way you die in this game. So again, back off Dark Souls. Azurik did it first. And the cool thing about this tower is that all around it, you see like these weird sculptures. Each of these represents one of the four main elemental realms. So this is the air realm, the big fan. And there's that fountain over there, which is the water. And as you collect I think it's when you beat the Guardian. So you collect all the fragments of the disc to like almost complete the disc. Then you fight the Guardian to get the last fragment of the disc, and that like repairs the disc. Yes, you are 100% correct, Purple. It is the kind of fall damage that instantly scales from 1 damage to 100% damage over an arbitrary little threshold of like 2 inches of height. How did you know? Did you see that this was an Xbox game? But yeah, when you like complete an area, these sculptures like come to life, and they're like a record of the areas that you've completed. So like that like fan turns on and spins around. This like bursts into flames. I think the Earth Realm has, yeah, those rocks down there start levitating into like a weird design when the Earth Realm is fixed. There's a lot of like small, neat touches in this game that I really like. That are really like brought down by the fact that this game has abhorrent combat, terrible plot, and largely forgettable moment-to-moment gameplay. But we need to go to the Earth Realm, which each of these bridges is color-coded with the gem for their area. So like the Earth Realm is color-coded with these emeralds. So you know this is the way to the Earth Realm. It's the next place to go. I think Eldwin told us that, but I just know that this is the next place to go. Because, like I said, I've played the beginning part of this game fucking too many times. An obsidian. Oh yeah, there's a Diluvian Oracle in the tower, which is the only Diluvian Oracle in the game that actually changes what he says. But there's one at the base of the tower that will constantly update with whatever your like next main objective is. So if you ever get lost and you're not sure where to go next, you go back to the tower and it explains it. But again, can we talk about like how good this open area is for an Xbox game? Like this level is, again, pretty large. And it really likes vistas. It likes giving you moments to look back at those big areas and like get it. And you'll see more of it when we get to the Earth Realm. This game is fucking obsessed with vistas. Yeah, so everyone... I was actually going to talk about that before I got distracted. The citizens, the people, they literally, according to the lore, just live in the town. They don't go into the elemental realms at all. They just live in the town, like that little island and that's it. And yes, literally only lore guardians are supposed to like go out into all of these areas. So I don't know where the fuck they do anything or get any food, because there's no farms there. Like, I don't know what they do all day besides just sit in their houses. I don't know where they got the building materials for their houses. I don't know what their life is like at all, because these areas are only accessible to the lore guardians. That's like written in the booklet and everything. Anyway, we're in the Earth realm.
This huge expanse joins all of the parts of the Earth realm into one giant interconnected machine. Restore the machinery to working order and raise the tower, and you will be able to explore all of the Earth realm.
And Earthrealm is also a cool area. Most of the areas in this game are cool areas, to be honest. This guy's an imp. Hold on. Let me get a good look at the imp. No, he's about to hit me. There you go, that's a good thumbnail. That summarizes this game pretty cool. The least cool area is probably like half of the Fire Realm. Half of the Fire Realm is just like weird dark tunnels, and I don't like them. This is an imp. Imps and harvesters, actually. These guys too. These are both creatures of the Death Realm. Harvesters, I think, don't have eyes. They're really weird, and I don't like them. I don't like these things. But they terrify me. And they're just... I don't know. But there are presumably, especially the overlords, are like minions of the Death Guardian. So, like, because the Death Guardian is the main antagonist of this game, they are here messing shit up in order to stop us. And imps are actually really cool because they synergize with other enemies in the game, which we'll talk about that when we see some. But there are multiple enemies in this game that the imps can actually like ride or pilot to make them like stronger versions if they're in the same area, and you can like see them do it. It's really cool. The imp does not... Imps are shitty by themselves. They don't do much. They have good sound effects, though. Like weird clicking noises. There's also friendly fire. And also, this first part of the Earth Realm is clearly, like, minorly overlapping with the Death Realm, like this intro area. Because all the areas have overlap, too. So, like, parts of the Water Realm touch the Fire Realm, parts of the Earth Realm touch the Fire Realm, parts of the Air Realm touch everywhere. It's cool. So this is clearly an extension of the Death Realm, because everything's fucking dead. These bats are enemies, and they are the worst. Hold on. I don't think I've ever, like, taken a close-up look at these bats before. Wow, they actually are, like, really well modeled for how tiny they are. Look at their little mouths. Yeah, they've got, like, 4 wings, too. That part was always obvious, but... These guys are actually really cute. I've never looked at these guys before. I love them. And that is a baby basilisk. Basilisks are also from the Death Realm, and they spit acid. And there are baby ones and there are adult ones. And these baby ones are not really a problem, but the big ones are fucking pains in the ass because they are so fast, so big, and they can turn invisible. And I remember spending a lot of time... this is the language of the ancients. They wrote in hieroglyphics, which are all like every symbol, kind of like almost like the Chinese alphabet, where like every symbol is actually like a word or like has its own meaning, but then you combine them in context with other symbols, and then like you actually create sentences based on that, like those symbolic meanings is supposedly how this language works. But if you couldn't guess, no one actually took the time to make it into a real language, so all of this is nonsense. But I remember as a kid, I spent a lot of time like trying to see if I could decipher this fucking language. Because it's written in some places, there's symbols all over the place, and I was like, is this fucking hyper light drifter? Can I fucking decipher this? No, no one cared enough about Azurik. Yeah, even the baby basilisks or catalysks, they're not basilisks, they're catalysks because they're like cats. The baby ones are also very fast. They go whew. And that's a skeleton of an adult catalyst right there. That's how big the adult ones are. They're quite large. Let me collect all my fucking Banjo-Kazooie notes. Gotta get the power-ups for Gruntilda. More pillars. That's an obsidian we can't get yet, unfortunately, even with our supreme mantling powers. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's talk about fun enemy designs again. Can't get through that yet either. Need an elemental power. So there's more bots. I like those. This guy right here is called a golem. And golems are, like, legit. Like, unironically, really good robot design. They're like gorillas. They're like silverback gorillas, kind of. They literally have a silverback. But they're like big work robots that you can pilot inside. That's where you sit. But they also have an autopilot function where they just fucking do whatever. But you can actually get inside of them and wear it, yes, and wear it as a mech. And the imps that I was talking about earlier can actually climb inside of these. And they adopt the imps moveset. Like, they don't just continue to like, walk around like golems. They actually get piloted by the imps, so they, like, scratch their butt and stuff as the imp is scratching its butt. And, like, it gets, like, different... It gets access to new attacks and stuff. It gets faster. So these enemies are really cool. I love these guys. And you can actually see the imps inside, like, in that chamber right there. So... They also hit like a fucking truck. That's a digger machine right there. I have played Xenoclash 2. I never finished it. Played parts of it. I think I got like through half of it. Also these symbols right here. I think that symbol on the ground right there is the Earth symbol, but I could be wrong. All of those symbols right there too. Again, I spent a lot of time trying to decipher this fucking game. And to no avail. Because there is no deciphering it. Oh, this fucker right here. Okay. So welcome to the Earth Realm. Again, this game loves its vistas. Let me see if I can actually get it on camera. I don't know what time of day it is. There's the moon. I mean, I'll be playing Xenoclash 2 eventually, because it's on my Steam list. That's part of the Steam series. At some point, it could be the very last game we play, but it'll be played at some point. Yeah, very big moon. In fact, you want to hear my game theory I was talking about earlier? I think that we're on the moon. I think that's the home planet. And I think the blue people came to this moon. They terraformed it with the Guardians and everything, and they came to live on the moon. Exactly. So I think we're on the moon, and that's the Earth. Or at least that planet. they're very close regardless. These planets are very close. These planetoids are extremely close to each other. Our real moon is a lot further away from Earth than this is, even if this is the moon. I think I could be entirely wrong, but I'm pretty sure the moon is a decent distance away from the Earth. Like, it does not look like this if you look up into the sky. I've been trying to talk about this enemy for a while. These guys, maybe that moon is the same distance but just bigger. Okay. I'm gonna try and not let him kill me, but these guys are actually like a werewolf type enemy. During the daytime, because this game does have day-night cycle, during the daytime they are literally like innocent, helpless lambs. They are completely passive and they don't attack you. They just look like lambs, like weird mutant giraffe lambs. But when night falls, they turn into these things. Turn into these rams. Evil, aggressive rams that try and kill you. He's dead now. So, yeah, they're weregoats. Anyway, let me see if I can get that vista again. Beautiful. That tree over there, you can climb it. It gets a lot bigger, actually, when you actually, like, get to it. That's, like, its own loading zone over there. It's way bigger. It's its own level. And I'm pretty sure that's initially how you get to the air realm. I say initially because there's a lot. There's the air realm is one of the more complicated realms. Yeah, no, I've said it 100 times and I'll say it again. You guys are also probably getting a biased view because like I said before, I fucking love this game. It's not good. 100% do not misinterpret me. This game is not good, but I love this game through a combination of nostalgia and also just like the parts of it that I do like. I really like they're tailored specifically for me. It's like stupid lore building, like world building stuff, and it's very simple, but I like it. You guys might be getting a biased impression that this game is actually good because I keep saying good things about it. And also, I spent the time to like read the manual of this game and like get really into it, which most people I think saw this game for 3 seconds and then saw this face during the first cutscene, and they were like, "Yeah, nah, I'm good." As beautiful as this fucking game can be sometimes, like some of these areas are really nice. Why is this the main character?
Activate silver teleporters by locating 2 that are linked.
So yeah, the silver teleporters. Oh, I think I forgot to get the first one. The first one is in the first area. This would teleport you back to the beginning of the Earth realm. I forgot to grab the first one though, so who cares? While we're here, let me point out something I really like about this game actually. It does a really cool thing which honestly is really important in a game that's main draw is exploration. There are multiple times in the Earth realm alone where it does this, but let me show you like this first one. It teases you with areas that you can't get to yet. Like down there. That place looks cool as fuck, right? I want to go down there. You can't get to it from here. But it gives you this really cool angle to see an enemy just, like an area just fucking swarming with enemies and weird machinery. And you're like, I want to get there, but you can't. We are going to get there eventually, and when you do, it's just like such a simple thing, but you get like a sense of payoff when you finally get to an area that you saw forever ago and wanted to get to. When you finally can. It's just also... This whole level design in the Earth Realm is really good because all of these areas that you thought under one context completely change once you press a button. I'll show you that later. But like that whole thing in the middle, just changes its shit up when we press like a single button. Just that area right there. There's some cheeks. These are also passive. They don't attack or anything, and they drop health. So the game incentivizes you to murder innocent little chichens. It does kind of look like a nuclear missile silo, but no, unfortunately that's not what it is. But yeah, that's like one example of the game like setting up an area you get to later. That's something it unironically does very well. That I think if your game's main focus is exploration, that's definitely an important tool in your kit for making the exploration feel satisfying. And there's just like little areas like this, like this is like a cute little terrarium that the ancients made. Like a nice garden with mushrooms and a tree. The backtracking can be horrible sometimes. It's not the worst, but there is definitely backtracking in this game. Look. And the environments, it just like hits you with a new one after the other. Like we were outside in like a terrarium, and then now we're in an underground ice cave. There's big crystals here. Why not? These guys, I invented my own lore about these fucking fish because of like a weird graphical error. What is it called? In video games, when far away things have lower level of detail. Level of detail is very like strict on these fish. When you get like, they clearly fucked up a variable somewhere where the level of detail on these fish falls when you're like an inch away from them, but as you get close, they like get it back rapidly. Like nothing else in this game does this. Watch. Actually, I think we can do it. Yeah, using the cheat. So here's what they look like up close. Then you back up like a foot. And they do that. And then you back up like another foot. And they do it again. And this technique is obviously important for video games. This was a thing that was discovered a long time ago that's an easy way to save processing power, but it's not supposed to be this obvious. I think it's like its lowest level detail. But yeah, it's great. When I was a kid and I saw this, and I had no concept of level of detail, and I did not realize this was a thing, in my head, I thought, oh, these fish are like shapeshifters, and when you get close to them, they make themselves look old. Because in my brain, this is what old looks like, because the whiskers, I guess. But when you're far away, they get younger when you're far away, and then you get close and they get old again. That's how my brain processed that, and it blew my mind. I'm not going to zoom in on the sleets, because the sleets are just like dragons. They're not that cool to look at. Yeah, Gex is here. Gex confirmed for Azurik. I just want to know when Azurik is confirmed for Smash. Like, we got Banjo-Kazooie, which I guess is fine, but like, come on, Microsoft. You have a much better mascot waiting. His name is Azurik. He's the last lore guardian. This dragon can actually perpetually
Place a
lock you
key
from
into a
climbing up that
matching
ladder, by the way.
receptacle by pressing the X button.
It's happened to me before. A key. I mean, yeah, no, we totally fucking called the Smash announcements, like 100%, but to be fair, one of them was basically already confirmed forever ago being Dragon Quest Boy. John Dragon Quest. And the other one was just like one we pretty much just wanted. So, we really only half guessed them. There's 2 keys you gotta bring to these receptacles.
I need to find the key.
That's another fucking sound effect that's burned into my brain. I need to find the key. Oh, here we go. New enemy. New enemy. Ice elementals. Because one of the enemy designers was horny. Let's see if we can get a look at him. No, wrong one. So these are the ice elementals. They're just girls with no clothes on and spiky heads. Presumably, I think the lore is that this mask thing is like the AI, like it is them, and then the rest of their body is just ice. Actually, I think these are water elementals, not ice. So that's like liquid water. Liquid water controlled by that headpiece. And yeah, it does look like an Elder Scrolls Flame Atronach. There are flame elementals in this game that are the same thing but fire, and they 100% just look like Elder Scrolls Flame Atronachs. So we'll see those too. Again, these are one of the enemy types that synergizes with other enemies. If a water elemental and a fire elemental combine with each other, they power up into a big steam elemental. So that's another thing that can happen later in the game. This game likes its like enemy synergies. It's fun. That's a lot of bots, though. Get out of here. Oh, and this guy... No. This guy right here is a statue. It's an ice sculpture of, like, a gargoyle. Yeah, that's T-posing. It's a statue of a gargoyle, of which there are real gargoyles later in the game that are not ice sculptures. They are, like, actual statues. Also, water elementals are immune to water damage. Who would have guessed? They don't take any damage. They're like real gargoyles that are actually statues, and if an imp gets on them, they bring them to life and ride them around as well. A key. Let's get our fire element. Oh, that one doesn't. That one's literally just an ice sculpture of an enemy that does come to life and attack you. Which I guess... I don't know what the lore is on that. I don't know if that's a real gargoyle that just happens to be made of ice, or if someone thought it would be funny to make a statue of an enemy that's normally a statue, but made out of ice, so it wouldn't actually come to life. Yeah, this one just tricks you into thinking the ones you find later will be nice. It lures you to a false sense of security. And I think that's the only gargoyle in the... Like, and when I say later in the game, I mean way later in the game. Like, way later. Like, you don't see those fucking gargoyles that's a statue of until, like, one of the last areas of the Air Realm. It's a while. Which is just enough time to completely forget it was ever a thing. Anyways, we've opened up that cart, so we're gonna go on a Minecraft minecart adventure ride. And it's gonna do that thing again where it teases an area that you can't get to until way later, and then you're really satisfied when you finally get to that area. Steve Minecraft confirmed for Azurik. Whee! Enjoy this really good music in the meantime. See, look, there's like an underground jungle. And you're like, what the fuck? I want to go to the underground jungle. You can't, not yet. Gotta wait. Whee! However, we are going to get payoff to that first area we saw right now. So now we get to see... Yep, there we go. Now we get to see these guys controlled by imps. Did you see him scratch his butt? He did it. So now they get an overhead smash that they didn't have before. Nope. No. There we go. And there he is. Look at him. He's the fucking boss. Yeah, and they imp waddle instead of, like, knuckle dragging like gorillas. They actually have a different walk animation, they have a new attack, and they scratch their butt. See? That one just scratched his butt. Do you see it? That's the most important part. And also, there's like a million enemies down here that all want to kill me, so let's go press the button and get out of here. That was a button I pressed, by the way. You probably couldn't tell because it was like 3 pixels tall and blends in with the background. You're lucky I fucking know this game. And now that thing that was in the center was actually a giant tower the whole time. Azurik is not really like an ancient repairman. He doesn't know how any of this shit works. He just kind of walks into places and pushes buttons, and then when stuff happens, he's like, oh, I guess that's what I was supposed to do. Come on, elevator. Come on. Come on. Thank you.
Key.
A key. So now we made a tower happen, I guess. Also, I didn't really mean to go over here yet, but this works. We can go get our first disc fragment. And that'll also take us back to the water realm where we can now melt that ice block with our firepower, with our steam. I don't think there's anything else to do here yet. I think we gotta come back later, but I think all of those things that we passed on the way down here are now accessible, if I remember correctly. Because we've activated this tower. So now this whole Earth area has opened up for further exploration as well. But we should probably go to the water realm because that's how we get our air power. And air is one of the most important powers in this game because it lets you do more platforming. And there are a lot of things that are blocked by platforming. So we're gonna go on a fun slide. There's also a lot of fun slides in this game, such as the one we just got off of, but also the one we're about to get on. This game really likes its, like, slides for some reason. It likes its slides almost as much as it likes its vistas. It does look like he's riding an invisible skateboard. I think this game would have been improved vastly if every time he slides, he gets on his axiom and, like, slides his axiom like a snowboard. That would improve this game by a lot. Whee! So you ready for this? You ready for this Dark Souls level design shit you're about to see? You ready for it? I don't think you're ready yet. So there's a bunch of gems that are like really easy to miss on this slide, and you can like slow yourself down by jumping to get them, but I don't really care, so I'm not going to. Also, that's not how that jump works, but the game just does it for you. It's not how the physics do, but I'm not going to complain. You have no control over this slide part, like, at all. Besides jumping to slow yourself down, like, you can't go back and forth. But look where we are. Back to the water realm. Remember this? Remember this, dude? Got it. So that's the main quest, is to collect all of those. Yeah, you can press the back button at any time to see your progress. So we got that little fragment of the water disc down there on the bottom right now. There's 4 fragments of every disc. But when you collect 3, it unlocks the final one. It like breaks a seal, and then you fight a boss to get the last one. With the exclusion of the life disc, which is like a special case. You get 3 pieces, and then it does something else. And that's how you beat the game, is by collecting all the disc fragments. Everything else is technically optional, but mostly required because you need the elemental powers to access different areas of the game. So it's not really optional. Unless you use cheats to teleport everywhere. Because that's one of the cheats, is teleportation. Which, when I was too lazy to figure out how to actually beat this game, as soon as I discovered that cheat, it was over. Because it lets you sequence break. Oh, also, we should go back up.
The red globes
We should go get that obsidian up there now that we can. I didn't want to, like, route my way around and figure out where the stuff was that I missed. And, like, what I could unlock with my new powers and stuff like that. So as soon as I discovered there was an ability that lets you just teleport to any level in the game, since the main part of the game that I liked was exploration, that basically finished the game for me, because I could just teleport to every area. You can give yourself every elemental power too, but again, it sequence breaks things pretty bad, because the air realm is weird. So if you teleport to the air realm before you're supposed to be there, you actually break things quite a lot. But it was fun getting to see like every corner of this game without actually having to get to it. So I've never actually beaten this game legitimately. This will be the first time. As much as I know about this game, I've never actually like beaten it all the way to the end, legitimately. Sure, I've done this first part a lot, though. We've also got 10 obsidians now, so we can go do the thing. Go do the thing in the place. The obsidians give you all kinds of upgrades. One of them is, there's like 3 axiom upgrades, I think, that like make it look cooler. That makes it do more damage, but also they like get spikes on it and stuff. Makes it look more cool. Yeah. Also, as bad as those technical difficulties were at the beginning, let's do this. I'm kind of glad they happened because they, like, gave 30 minutes before everyone showed up, so everyone got to see the very good opening cutscene of this game. Whereas if everything had worked as planned, nobody would have been here for the start of the stream. You missed like 30 minutes of absolutely nothing, and me going, well, huh, well. It was very good stream material that will most certainly be uploaded to YouTube.
This is the central part of the water realm. This is the central part of the water realm. You can swim to different parts of the realm in search of the missing disk fragments and additional powers.
Thanks, Elwin. Oh, I'm very excited to show you this next thing that happens. Because it was like... I remember this part of the game so fucking vividly because it was... First of all, this whirlpool is one thing I remember vividly because it's so scary. Whirlpools are scary. If you get too close to that thing, it just fucking kills you. It sucks you down and then you die. So that whirlpool terrifies me and I hate it. It serves a purpose later in the game, though, when you realize what it's actually for, and that's like a cool moment. Yeah, no, that whirlpool is scary and I don't like it. It scares me. It's very intimidating. But here's the thing that I really liked. The water realm scared me a lot as I was a kid. Just because I wasn't, like... Everything up to this point has been pretty chill. And then immediately when you enter the main water realm, you see a giant scary whirlpool and it scares you because you're like 12. Actually, I was probably... How old was I when I played this game? I'm 22. This came out in 2001, which is around when I played it. So, minus 18 years. Dang, I was very young. Like, I think I actually played it a couple years after it released, so probably like 5 or 6, I guess. I was basically raised by Azurik, yes. Here's a big imp. Imp Overlord, I think is what they're called. They're just imps, but tougher. Oh, you dick. Hold on, I need to show you the next scary thing. It's not the red imp. He didn't scare me when I was a kid. It's what happens after you kill the red imp. This enemy is required to kill even for the pacifist run. There you go. You kill him. Watch this. Watch this fucking cutscene. That was me when I was a kid. That was me screaming. You actually have control over your character there, and you have to, like, actually run away from that. Well, okay, you don't actually have to run away from it. You can just stand on that. You can stay there if you want, and it just breaks the floor out from under you, and you, like, harmlessly fall in the water and nothing happens. But the fact that it gives you control almost seems to imply that there is immediate danger, and you need to, like, run away from that, and I did not figure out that torpedo did nothing until when I bought this game like a few months ago and was like, I wonder what happens if you actually get hit by that torpedo and then discovered that nothing happens at all. As a kid, I didn't even want to fucking risk it. That thing scared me so much that I was like, no, there's no way in hell I'm ever getting hit by that shit. Have a good night, Purple. And yeah, honestly, this is a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be, too. I thought this would be boring as fuck. But this is actually turning out really well. So now we have the key. That key actually lets us into the sub, but we need another thing we can do first before we can actually go into the sub. But yes, they do have a fucking nuclear sub. It's more like a submersible base. It doesn't go anywhere. But like you can actually see that like pixel, that like those 2 pixels sticking out of the water over there? That's its periscope. We can actually go check it out right now. There it is. Yeah, they've got like an underwater submarine base. Also built by the ancients, which I guess presupposes that they had need for a missile base at some point. I don't know what the lore is there, but I mean, there it is. They've got torpedoes. And you can even see them in there. They're still doing that. This guy is reevaluating his career choices. This guy's screaming because he's lost sight of me. Oh fuck, where did it go? And then he turns around and he sees this. He sees that hovering outside of the window. Menacing. But yeah, there's a way into the base, but we don't have the elemental power that'll let us do it yet, so we're just gonna have to move on. As soon as we finish the stormy part of the water realm, we'll have what we need. Need to figure out where that is, though. There it is. Also, we'll be playing this for like another 15 minute. Well, probably until the next save point, actually. Because I wanted to play a little bit longer to make up for the time that we were sitting in technical difficulties, but the fact that this game has like hard save points and I can't just save whenever means that that's probably going to dictate whenever we have our break to the next game. So here's the stormy part of the water realm. Very good music here. It makes it sound a lot scarier than it actually is. There's nothing really scary here. It's just a storm. Ow. There's like a lot of music in this game. Every zone has its own song, and they're all very like good and unique. This part of the song right here sounds very Jeremy Soule, though. This sounds like fucking straight out of Knights of the Old Republic.
In this stormy part of the water realm, you'll find your first air power and a fragment of the Earth disk. Watch carefully as day and night interact with the world.
Also, I will be playing Knights of the Old Republic on stream. That's one of the games on the Steam list. So that will be played. I also love those games. Very good. So yeah, again, it's a more industrial area. Probably the most industrial area we've seen so far. Most of the other zones so far have been very, like, natural. But this is all just, like, metal platforms on the ocean. Looks like oil rigs. I have no idea what the fuck they were doing here. I don't know what any of this is for, but it's here. These guys don't drop anything yet because we don't actually have the air power. So I just killed that poor creature for no reason. And these rocks right here, they flash different colors. You basically have to combine the elements that it flashes, so water, air, and fire for that one, and then hit it with whatever thing pops up, and then it pops open and it gives you a bunch of gems. So, the stormy part of the Water Realm is not super entertaining to watch. Also, that thing down there just replenishes all of your elemental power. Because there's a lot of waiting going on in this realm. A lot of standing around doing nothing. We're going to go down to that save point and end it, because everything here is related to the day-night cycle. Which, first of all, this is the worst zone they could have picked to make the day-night cycle a major gimmick, because you can't fucking tell what time of day it is. Because it's stormy. So, that was a bad move on their part. It's like there are underground parts of this game which would have been the only worst decision they could have made. Let's save. But those spotlights right there, when they're on, they like hover over these flowers, and when the light is over those flowers, they open up and you can use them as platforms. But at night, which is I think it is actually daytime right now. Those are just, yeah, it's night right now because the lights are on right there. You can see them. But the individual things need to be activated. During the day, when the spotlights go off, there are other platforms. And you can see these are unlocked. These platforms rise up. Oh, like this right here. And you can cheese the platforming by waiting right above them, like I did just right there. You can't cheese the flowers at all, but you can skip platforming by just waiting above these things until daytime comes. Shit, and then you fall and you have to go do the platforming anyways. That's an important part of the Azurik experience. Is to feel proud about skipping platforming and then failing platforming and having to go do it again. Yeah, it's just like, maybe the zone where the day-night cycle was super important, maybe you shouldn't pick that zone to be the one place in the game where you can't actually tell what time of day it is by looking at the sky. Maybe that would be a good idea. Anyways. There. Yes. If I failed this puzzle too many times, then it would turn nighttime, and then they would close again, and I would have to wait for the next day to do that. Which is not great jumping puzzle design. I don't like to wait 10 minutes to be able to do the thing. I don't know how long the day-night cycle is, but it's actually pretty long. It's not 10 minutes, but it's still fairly long. So now we can save here and stop. But when nighttime hits, we will start off next stream by standing here and waiting for a few minutes until these lights come on so we can do this next part of the puzzle. And it's going to be so fun. Okay. That was Azurik Rise of Perathia. This stream is very fun so far. I did not think it would be this fun, but so far it's been a very fun ride. In a very short BRB, I'm going to go get some water to drink, and then we're going to switch to Cadence of Hyrule, which I'm very excited for. I'm putting this fucking capture card to use finally. So here's some nice music. thank you. Have a good night. In fact, I'm just gonna